So you can scoot the chair out here if you want to, so you could be in frame or whatever. Oh, we got you. Okay, all right, so are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, let me see here. And just relax your arm. There you go. Now, what you typically experience when someone takes chi out of the environment, running it through my legs up into my abdomen in a place called the lower dantian, which is a pump, then circulating it once around, back up through my heart and down my arms into my palms into the person's wrist, is an unusual sensation, typically felt as a warming, buzzy, tingly sensation. If it goes down into your fingers or up your arms, it is definitely what I'm doing. You tell me if you're feeling that.
I feel the warmth.
Where is it going? Into your fingers?
Warmth is going into my shoulder, actually.
Into your what?
Shoulder.
Okay, so
away
I see.
From the fingers.
Yeah, so it tends to go where it's needed. Are you feeling anything up your arm into here or down into your hand?
I'm feeling heat up into my arm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now when I start out real slow, and the reason I start out slow is I want to gauge how much energy the person has, because as I go above their own natural energy flow, they start to feel it. So now I'm going to increase the volume, and you should be able to tell.
Yeah, I feel it.
Okay, now we're going to so I'm just naturally sinking my feet into the ground, pulling that energy up into my body, circulating and emitting it. Mm-hmm. Now, it turns out that you can do this too. It is like water. If you make space in front of it, like you are pulling water through a tube, you can pull this into your own body. And I want you to think of this sensation, not as a sensation, but as an actual substance, and pull it up your arm just like you were pulling water through a tube. And I'll observe. There you go. Did you feel it go up your arm?
Yeah.
That was you. That was your intent. So you can do exactly what I was doing. Now, it turns out that my teacher taught me a technique along with about 47 other people in about 15 minutes that she called running energy, which is the basic technique. And this is 2002. It was part of an experiment, and the experiment was positive, and they determined that you could take anybody and in a matter of hours teach them how to absorb and emit chi out their hands, and other people can detect it. Statistical scientific measurements prove this, and now what people have known for thousands of years is now kind of slowly entering the scientific circles. So I'm going to show you exactly what she showed me, and I have the opportunity to observe you because I've been doing this for 21 years. I can tell exactly what your field is up to. So I want you to think of your feet as if they were on mud or quicksand or soft earth. And I want you to sink your feet into the ground. Now your feet won't go into the floor. If they do, we've got it on camera and we'll put it on YouTube and all that good stuff. But your energy field, you can expand in any direction you want with your willpower. And I want you to just go ahead and you're feeling it now because I can feel it coming up your leg. Are you feeling that?
I can feel
that warm,
yeah.
tingly sensation? It's going to go slow with you in terms of your sensation. This stuff moves about as quickly as a fastball at minimum. It may move much faster than that, but the sensation that is produced by its motion is focused on by the brain. So wherever we bring our focus, it goes, oh, you want me to go to the legs? Okay, I'll go to the legs. This is why I call this energy conscious energy. It is either conscious itself or it's responsive to our consciousness. Keep pulling it up your legs, keep sinking your feet into the ground, and just kind of let it float into your legs. There you go. Now you're getting almost to your knees. Interesting that I can tell where it is, huh? I can tell where the sensation is because there's kind of a denseness to it, and I can bounce my field off of your field and find out where it is. In just a second, it's going to start going into your thighs. It'll go slower there because it does act like water and it tends to fill space. So just kind of let it flow in there. There you go. See, it just went up just quite quickly up the back of your thighs. Did you feel that? This is fairly typical. Sink your feet down deeper. Make space in front of that sensation and pull it up like a straw. Suck that stuff in from the ground into your body. There you go. Now you're getting there, Michelle. It's very nice. In your pelvis, just below your belly button, is a complex that is a pump called the Dantian, but the Taoists, the ancient Chinese spiritualists, said was a pump. This Dantian is under several different types of control. It's under mental control. You can expand and contract it and use it as a pump. Or ways you breathe, you can do breath work. Every time you breathe in, that Dantian expands, pulling that chi from the ground into your abdomen. Every time you breathe out, it contracts. It's just starting to go into your abdomen. You'll start to feel that nice warming sensation there in just a minute as you pull it in. Literally use that expanding bellows of a Dantian to gather it. There you go, Michelle. See, you just had a little bit go up your back, didn't you? Did you feel that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll explain that in just a minute. You're in pretty good shape there. Just kind of pull it in. Think of it as a rotating beach ball, rotating towards your belly button. And filling on expansion with chi, with that warming sensation. Yeah, so your system's already kind of in good shape, so it's gonna, I don't want you to go too fast and get ahead of me, but
The beach ball metaphor just went zzz.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a rotating, expanding, contracting beach ball. It's a very beautiful organ, and when this pulls in from below, the force of the chi that you're intentionally pulling in expands it like a bellows. When you breathe out, it pushes out from just below your belly button, down between your legs, and it goes up your spine in the back. I want you to take in as much as possible from the ground. Just kind of pull some more in there. Let that warming sensation gather in your belly. There you go. Let it expand. There you go. It's going up the back of your, see, it goes down between your legs, up the back of your, through your spinal column, over the top of your head. That buzzy, tingly sensation that you're noticing on your top of your head right now, that's your crown chakra opening. The energy's going back down through there. It goes through these channels, like in multiple directions. Classical descriptions, you'll find that you may actually have a spiritual experience once you have this crown chakra open. It goes down through your third eye, through your mouth, down the front of your body, in the midline, and back into that pump. Once you get the, what?
I'm noticing a release in my ears, and then the visual I am getting is like the medical symbol with like the two snakes going up the middle. It almost feels like that's the direction of the energy that I can feel, like one going up and one coming down that staff or the spinal column.
Okay, I want you to just relax into it, feel, and I'm going to give you a pulse through your feet. You should be able to feel this because you're not feeling the full pathway. I want you to feel the whole thing, because the cleaner this pathway is and the more wide open it is, the easier you'll be able to do this technique. There you go. Did you feel that? That's me pushing energy in through your feet, through your system. I'm going to do it again, and then I'm going to go stronger. There you go. See how someone can help another person with this flow of this energy? You've got a couple of narrowings in that system. For whatever reason, a lot of people have a narrowing between their shoulder blades, and I don't know if you have a problem there or something like that. Okay, I'm gonna fix
I hold
that.
a lot of energy there.
You hold it? Okay. All right, so you may feel a sense of relaxation there in just a second. There you go. Did you feel that? You should have felt the flow increase.
I did. My grandmother had Hunchback's disease, and I have a slight curvature there.
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of like maybe even a little bit of scoliosis or something like that.
Yeah, different doctors have told me at different times that it's scoliosis, but then others have disagreed. So
It's not big time. It's just a little bit of side bending of your spine.
She was a full hunchback.
Okay. Keep sinking your feet into the floor, progressively pulling more and more energy. Just let it flow through that system. As that system opens up, we'll be talking about the other bellows in your system here. Just let that warm into your belly. People find it a little bit freaky because initially that warming is a little bit disconcerting and people don't exactly know what to do with it. It's just chi flow increasing. And I'm going to help you a little bit here, Michelle. You may find this warming sensation a little bit disturbing right at the beginning, but it feels pretty good when you kind of just let it flow. Okay, so this initial circuit from the legs into the lower dantian, up below the belly button, down between the legs, over to the top of the head, and back into the dantian is called the microcosmic circuit, which always confused me because it's bigger than the next circuit that we're going to use. This next circuit, there are multiple explanations in multiple different cultures about the actual anatomy, but it turns out that this dantian is connected to the heart chakra, which is the middle dantian for the Taoists, and for the Hindus, the heart chakra, which connects above and below the three above chakras, including the crown, third eye, throat chakra, heart chakra, sacral chakra, second chakra, which is kind of like where your intellect and intent is, and the third chakra, which is kind of the pump. Okay, so this goes up the center of the body into the heart. In just a second, do you have a pet?
Deceased.
Do you have, okay, so.
I have an honorary pet here that I was just with recently for 2 days. Yeah.
Okay, cool, honorary pet, will do. You know how animals give unconditional love?
Yeah.
The proper use of the heart chakra is to give unconditional love, whatever that means. But animals are very good at that. Humans not so much so, but animals, you can almost always count on them loving you. They're very loving beasties. I want you to think of that animal, that pet, and I want you to pull that energy from the dantian, from the lower dantian, up into your heart. Then I should be, there you go, and you feeling that warming going down your arms? Interesting, there's a natural pathway that goes down the arms. I want you to put your palms about 4 inches away from each other. Just kind of relax your hands and, okay, good. And just focus on the area between your palms and let that energy run from your heart. Keep circulating, keep sinking your feet deep into the ground. Keep using that microcosmic orbit and run that up through your heart and down your arms. In the middle of your palms, there's a chakra, minor chakra, called Gong Point. That is a great place to emit energy. I want you to push the energy from palm to palm. Since you're right-handed, you may feel it go down the right hand first and then toward the left hand. You should feel it as a substance. Picking that up?
Yes.
Okay. Now, interesting. This is the way, whatever you're feeling right now, this is the way your hands feel chi. I'm gonna push a little bit for you here. So you can really get a lot of energy going there. Are you picking that up?
Yeah.
And then you just, I'm trying to be gentle here. I don't want to overrun your system
Okay.
here. Now, open your eyes for a second. If you put your hands like this and flop them over and over, you may actually feel the actual pressure from that chi. It kind of gathers between the hands. It's flowing out all the time, and you can make a little chi ball. If you really want to, open your eyes. If you really want to feel it, put your fingers like this and go like this. What that does is a stimulate. Touch the fingers and rub them back together. What that does is it stimulates that central palm chakra, and you should really feel it coming out of there now. And then you just flop it over a little bit. That's the way you feel chi. Now, okay, cool. Put your hands on my wrist and relax. And I want you to run chi into my wrist. Just kind of let it flow. Nicely done. You feeling that?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to try to decide how far up my arm that's gone by kind of waiting for, just kind of like playing tennis. You hit the ball and then you just bounce it right back off. There you go. Are you feeling that? Can you tell how far it's gone?
Just almost to the elbow.
Nicely done. Okay, so you can see how I got there. So right now I can tell that your energy levels have come up quite a bit since we first started working. You can do this instantaneously. You don't have to go through all the steps that I did. All you have to do is relax into the floor. Sink your feet into the floor and do what I call going marine. The Marines are the badasses of the world, as we know. You tell them to take a beach, they take the beach. They don't care who gets killed, they don't care if they get killed, the beach gets taken.
You're losing me on the war metaphor with the chi, but
Well,
I get what you're saying.
Okay, you know, I mean, you could kind of say, you could substitute anybody who goes to the hilt and doesn't care that anybody's watching. It's complete abandon. You know, much, you know, since you don't like the war metaphor, you can use love. Love is a complete abandonment of the self, and that's what this does.
The hummingbird went back to the forest when it was on fire, and all the animals fled, and it brought one drop at a time to the fire.
Okay.
And so that would be like a similar metaphor of going all in.
Going all in, win the fight.
Wherever it's needed, it's directed, it will go.
Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to sink your feet into the ground with complete abandon. And you're going to pull that energy up like your life depended upon it, like your health depended upon it, like everything depends upon it. Go for broke. And watch. You may go into Beyond Delta just doing this, and I'll explain later. We'll see what happens here.
Okay.
Deep into the ground. A little different this time, isn't it?
My ears are so expanded. It's been a while, so
There you go, Michelle. Go on, go for it. Okay, you just expanded. Did you feel that?
yes.
Okay, you just went into Beyond Delta. That happened to me the first time I did this because I didn't know what was happening. I got confused. That is the equivalent of the third eye opening. You went in and went out. So now that you know how to run energy, you can go in mechanically. You pull in this energy, it expands your field. There's a bellows that isn't talked about because of its esoteric nature, and it's kind of almost a secret. But it turns out that we have this energy field, this aura around us, that is this kind of bubble of energy that's created by the flow through of the chi through the chakras and things like that. Very complicated situation, but very simple in one regard. If you regard it as a third eye, as the detector function of the human energy field, it is expanding and contracting all the time. Hide and seek, hide and seek. And it hides most of the time because it thinks that there's a threat. And I'm about to show that to you. You went into Beyond Delta, you looked, and you stayed there for probably 3 seconds or more, and you went, there's no tiger here. There's no threat. Well, when you came in, your field was closed like this, collapsed around itself, which is not good for you.
I wouldn't imagine it's good for anybody.
No, it is
Which
not.
this is the population this is for, so this is
Right.
important conversation.
Right, and energetics can go a long way to making someone healthy. The Chinese do not separate food, air, water, rock, tree, earth, chi from human chi. Everything is chi, everything's energy. Modern physics agrees, but the West is still trapped in this illusion of there's something physical when it's all energetic.
Antiquated outside
Yeah,
yourself.
it's pretty badly disturbed. Because we all think of ourselves as physical beings, we're actually vibrating clouds of conscious energy that can be manipulated. Now, you go, well, my arm broken. Well, you can manipulate that easier with energy than you can by saying my arm's broken.
Right. Which is the truth somehow I knew my whole life, even though somebody said I had scoliosis or my grandmother had this disease, that I don't. But the truth is there's some kind of blocked energy there, and I could go down the road of I have this and therefore that's what I'll be as I age, or I can go down the road of this is energy and I can transform that in myself because my body's always wanting to come into balance, and so learning about my chi and my energy and how I feel it in my body can help me transform those, even a genetic predisposition.
Right. So how about we take you into Beyond Delta and keep you there?
Okay.
So why don't you lay down on your back with your head down this way? The explanation behind this I may have given you before. About 2003 or 4, I had a patient with severe fibromyalgia, and they were very sick. They were disabled. They were losing their home. They were horribly anxious and terrible pain. It was the full disaster, and I didn't know what to do. And I had learned how, put your head down this way.
Okay.
I had learned how to run energy into people, and she was getting a response, but it was incomplete, and it only lasted a few hours. So what I did was I ran energy like crazy. I decided, okay, I'm gonna win this game. I went Marine. For me, went Marine.
Okay.
Not hummingbird, but I would have gone hummingbird if I had an analogy. So the deal was I ran as much energy into her crown chakra as I could. What you're about to feel is my running energy into your nervous system. You should start feeling that as a warming sensation on your head, face, or neck, and it should start going down your spine. Once I get, there you go, you feeling there?
Yes.
Okay, so we're headed for your feet. As I continue to talk, I can tell where this energy is because if I send a pulse, it bounces back off. We're almost through your low back. We're about to go into your thighs. In just a second, we're going to be going down your legs. There you go, you just hit your feet. Did you feel that? You feel that in your feet? Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so right now we're in good shape. Our fields are kind of like connected. Right now I am in fight or flight, collapsed energy field. And what we'll call delta, what we'll call beta um, protector mode. This is what most people are in, but there's another mode which is relaxation response, open field, expanded field, detector field, and that is, we'll call that beyond delta. So in just a second, I'm going to take you from your field being collapsed, protected against predators, because if you have a predator nearby, a tiger for instance, like you want to be very small for close-up fighting, or if you have to run away, you want that tiger not to be able to see you with its energy field any longer. It has plenty good eyes and ears to detect your physical energy field, but it can also detect your energy, your aura. And if you went behind a tree, it'd still be able to see you. Well, survival is number one, so the people who are able to keep their energy fields contracted in the presence of a predator, real or imagined, are what have been selected for being on Earth right now. That's how we do it on the physical plane. Right now, you're flickering back and forth between that. You're going between protector, 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 detector. I see a tiger. If it was a negative thought or feeling, it was a false tiger. There's no tiger in this room, so since you're flickering, we know that you're having thought tigers, or that you've been habituated to this chronic stress state. When I go from the collapsed fight or flight protector state into the detector state, your field will look through mine, recognize that there's no physical tiger within striking distance, and you will go into the state that I'm in. Turns out that our energy fields are read by each other constantly. You're constantly looking at other people's energy fields and evaluating them for survival purposes as well. So here we go. In just a second. Do you have any pain, Michelle?
In the moment?
Yeah. Did you have pain when you came in?
Maybe I have a headache from the pollen and my arm. Let's see. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Okay, it should go away in just a second. You also should feel a release of anxiety. And it feels like this. There you go, you just went in, did you feel that?
Yes.
Okay, most people feel a warming, buzzy, tingly sensation. This is because their field is open and is now acting as a bellows, pulling in chi from the surrounding environment, and you get that warm, buzzy, tingly sensation that you're so familiar with, the flow that you just experienced. That relaxation is your field using the third eye and going, there's no tiger here. It's very relaxing for it. Because a minute ago it was going, there's a tiger right on top of us, we're going to get killed. Now it can relax. In a second, I'm going to take you into beyond delta. Typically what people feel is their body floating. You tell me when that floaty sensation hits. There you go. You feeling floaty in space?
Yes.
Okay, you're in beyond delta. Turns out that the soul recognizes that it does not need a body to physically survive. It will be fine. So it's not sampling the body as much. It goes, oh, I'm fine. I'm out here in what I call the superconscious mind. You're no longer using the five senses and the physical body for survival. You're using the superconscious mind, and the superconscious mind says those are very useful senses, but they're not all that we have. You can go very deep. Your thoughts, I'm going to go very deep with you, Michelle, because I think you're ready for it. I think that what you'll experience is a sensation of even maybe a body disappearance feeling, and your thoughts may stop. different, huh? Just luxuriate in that. Just kind of sink back into it. Let it completely and totally stay that way. Your job is to record and remember three things. This warming, fuzzy, tingly body sensation of increased flow into your energy field. That sensation of relaxation, number 2. And number 3, this body floaty sensation. If you can reproduce these, you can re-enter this state whenever you want. The challenge is remaining. A thought tiger will come along, and your field will start flickering, going back into its collapsed protective fight or flight state. If this happens without your knowledge, it will cause havoc within your physical body, because especially in the absence of a tiger, there's no point in fighting and running away when there's nothing to fight or run away from. That's why I call them thought tigers. They're illusory. Now we have the opportunity to look around your field, record and remember as I'm doing this, and there's a couple things that you need to be taken care of. And it's kind of like you have your system is very good energy, by the way. However, there's something going on in your liver, and you may feel a warming sensation as I help you run the chi into there. There you go. Feels different, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop running energy and see if you stay. Remain. Just kind of kick back and enjoy. Yeah? Record and remember so that you can reintroduce this. Re-enter and remain. In just a second, we're going to do a little exercise. This exercise is kind of a little weird, I must admit, but it's a demonstration. If I go back into fight or flight, your field will notice that my field is in fight or flight, and you'll go, oh, there's a field that could hurt me within striking distance, and you will start flickering again, going back into this collapsed energy field. We're only going to do this for a second because there's no tiger here, but I want you to know that you can go back on your own at any time, and it feels like this. So here I go into beta, collapsed energy field, fight or flight. All I have to do is have a negative thought or feeling. There you go. Did you feel that? Did you notice going back into beta? No point in staying there. I'm not going to hurt you. So back into beyond delta. Just go there. One step. There is only one step, and that's just to go back there. And there you go. You just went back in. Did you feel that?
Yes.
Nicely done. It's pretty damn easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You may. Have you ever had any psychic stuff happen to you?
Yes. As far as, yes, like clairvoyance or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, my own abilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I first went into Beyond Delta, I didn't know that I was going to have that. All I did was run energy. I just ran a lot. And this is one thing I'm really good at. And on the way back from this energy experiment down in Tucson, I started having clairvoyance. I started to see into the future. I knew where people were. I knew what they were saying. I knew what was going on.
Yeah, I have that.
And so what the deal was, I was kind of reluctant. I didn't like it because I didn't know what was going on. I've always been a scientist, and so I kind of went, well, where's this information coming from? Where's the data? You know?
Yeah.
And so what happened was my field went like this, it was periodically doing this, and it was picking up information from the environment. My third eye was wide open. I didn't even know it. No one warned me. So you may have some psychic phenomenon, and it's only psychic because the ordinary mind and five senses cannot get that information. So we go, where's the information coming from? And we call it psychic. Some people, and where
it's using more of the brain and also being able to understand the field that you're in.
The brain is a
Feel it.
filter for this information. It's very tiny. It's like looking through a keyhole. And then you go like, well, there's this giant universe out there. We only see a portion of the stars that illuminate the night skies. Yeah, so anyway, but the deal is, now, so how are we doing time-wise? You okay?
Yeah, we just maybe push it backwards so that I'm back in my frame.
Well, we're doing okay. All right, so now I go, oh my gosh, I can heal people with my energy field. Which, something, as a little kid, I wanted to be a doctor all the time. And I said, now I've got this new tool. So I said, well, I'll just start healing people. Why not? Maybe I won't have to use drugs and stuff like that anymore. And it turned out that didn't really work out for me, but it worked out a lot of the time. So I decided one morning that I was going to expand my field for the next patient and see if I could heal them. So I was walking down the hall to the exam room. I expanded my field. Bam! I went from fight or flight, protector field, to expanded detector field, and I felt the person's energy field come through the wall and impact me, because that's what I had felt with that woman when she went into this floaty, pain-free, anxiety-free state. I felt her energy field come across me. I didn't know what was going on. So I felt this man's energy field come through the wall, literally impact mine, and I went into the room and I said, how are you doing today? And he said, fine. I said, what are you here for? And he goes, I don't know. And I went, what do you mean you don't know? You just told the nurse that you had all these problems. And he goes, well, I don't feel them right now.
Interesting.
So he went into this expanded state, pulled all this energy in, and he was healing in front of me. And I wasn't smart enough to go, oh, now I got to keep him in that state. That took a couple of years for me to figure out. So what had happened was that the minute I went back into my collapsed state, he didn't know how to maintain that open state, pulling in all that chi. He went into fight or flight, and he was screwed. So it was like he was out of, what would you call it? Out of gas. He wasn't getting any nutrients anymore from an energetic point of view, and his symptoms and problems came back. Not only did he feel them, he had no way to treat them energetically. So interesting. So over the years, I've been teaching people how to do that. So right now, you're flickering back and forth. You're doing this. Your field is going
Okay.
tiger, 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 tiger. No tiger. Tiger, 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 tiger. No tiger. Your turn. Go into the expanded state, and I want you to see if you can feel my field expand across yours when I use your field, and notice that there's no tiger. Here you go. Did you feel that?
Yes.
Did you feel my field expand across
Yes.
yours? Okay, that happens all the time.
Every interaction with people.
Every microsecond.
Yeah. No matter if they realize it or not.
Yeah, there are people I call big betas, you know of them, who put you into fear, who try to control people with fear. And they not only do that by voice and in physical intimidation, they do it with their energy fields. Some of them know how to do that. Not that they really recognize what's happening, but people are afraid of them, and they detect it with their energy field, what I call the creep detector. Have you ever been around somebody you get the creeps from?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's because they are wanting to control and dominate or whatever like that, and your field goes, oh, this person is dangerous, and it goes bam, and you get this creepy feeling. The problem is, if you stay in this state, you're blind in a room full of murderers and thieves. You can't tell what their energy field's doing anymore. You're hiding. You have decided to run away or fight.
And isn't that what people who are in chronic with complex illnesses, they like their system is in a constant trauma loop. They can't get out of fight or flight, and so it's
And
a collapse.
energetically,
They're
they're no
collapsed.
longer pulling energy into their system. They're no longer benefiting from the state that says there's no tiger in the room.
Right.
And they are no longer in Beyond Delta, so they don't get that spiritual. They can't get out of the mind, let alone go to the superconscious mind. I believe in the universal mind. I believe in God, or what people call God. And God is the universal mind. The only way to get to him is to go through the superconscious mind. You can't get to him with a brain.
Right. You have to expand.
You have to use the other mind, which is there and independent of the brain. This brain is unassailable. It cannot be destroyed. It is the soul, is what lasts after we die. So a lot of people, when they go, they go, this is so traumatic to be in a physical body with this filter and all this pain and fear and everything like that. Once they know that they have a place to go, a refuge, then things change. They heal on a psychological and spiritual level. So you got to heal on all three levels, or you're just not going to get anywhere.
Right.
And especially, yeah. Okay. So.
I love this. This is perfect.
Now
right,
Now, it's final deal here.
Okay.
Now I want you to go hummingbird for you while you're in Beyond Delta. So just go to Beyond Delta. You know how to get there. And then pull the energy through your feet. And you'll see that your field is expanded like a bellows, and you can pull in tons of stuff. Okay, you just went into Delta. Okay, pull it through your feet. Different feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's because you got this big bellows with all this room for all that chi before you were doing this. So I was having to guide you and push you along. Now you can do whatever the hell you please with this chi. It is yours. It is your birthright. It is your gift.
Yeah, it's interesting to open the eyes then and see how to maintain and stay.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really true is that if I enter trance state, I can see the aura of people who are in fight or flight. When they go into Beyond Delta, I see their auras because they're so big and bright.
And what do you see?
You have a nice aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And you have a very slight tinge of blue, which is good. What I'd like you to do is, I want you to take your intent and just sit and relax into it and just let it flow and ask what you want, and just kind of, you're going to get it now. You're going to have all the energy you need. You'll see what's coming because you'll be in the expanded energy field. Oh, that's so nice. Go beyond Delta, going deep. I can see you like this. You're kind of into it, aren't you? Go deeper still. I feel that this energetics is kind of like the final piece in healing. Treating, curing, fighting disease. It's all fine. On the physical level, we need to do that. But what are we actually treating? We're treating not a physical organism. You know, we are treating a person who has consciousness, who has soul, who is going to last forever. If we ignore that portion of that person, then all the work that we've done on the physical pales in comparison about what you could do on this level. So today, when you work with this person with the computer, go ahead and take them in there, if you'd like. They won't mind. One thing's for sure, there's no point in you being in fight or flight. You were when you came in. You had a misunderstanding with the universe, as I call it.
Yeah, it's been some long days and weeks, and I let myself get behind on myself.
Yeah, and you're more powerful than you think you are.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, well, I'm alone, I can't win, I am going to die. These thought tigers show up
Right.
that are destroying them. You do not need any more thought tigers. If it's a real tiger, run like hell. Collapse your field. Hide. Whatever. But if it's just a thought tiger, screw it.
Cast the net and move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions?
There were just some feedback. So there were moments where I actually felt the congestion in my ears like release. My ears got bigger, and obviously going beyond that is beyond that. But there was a moment where physically I noted the shift into the
wider beyond.
into the wider beyond.
Delta type deal.
It was almost like an opening, so I could feel energetically that movement, because there was really no way to get that energy moving without that expansion. And so that was one place I really felt it.
Well, a lot of women will have problems with their throat chakra, and it appears to be a societal issue because
It's
kind of patriarchal stuff.
between
you know.
the head and the heart. I feel like that's why we're mainly congested here.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a patriarchal thing where women are not supposed to kind of be allowed to speak or something like this. You know, sometimes women get caught up in that, you know, and they just don't. They feel diminished or whatever, and that's kind of silliness. You know, it's part of the Western world, and a lot of the world is like this, and they just treat women like crap.
Well,
And
and
so-
that when we are experiencing things with our bodies, like even our menses or things like that, historically, that's even been told, like we're hysterical, right?
Yeah.
Things like this. So, one of the interesting things is when you said, like my shoulder, asked me about that, and I told you about the history of this hunchback disease in my family. Then also you mentioned the liver, and there's a history of liver, disease and dysregulation. So to me, I'm like, oh, there's stuck energy there. Now I know I've been clean for 3.5 years, and the liver takes 7 to regenerate, but I'm in the middle of that. But also it was a belief, something about myself, right? Hunchback, so I can almost see it as the energy that you were seeing there is like a congestion or a stuckness. Yes, it could be a genetic weakness, but it's also a belief that even though I've been doing all this work, there's still some stuckness around the belief that because genetically it's there,
You think you're going to be stuck with
it's
this?
going to be something, right? And I think I'm doing a lot of work to transition that, but there's still some energy there. And then thinking about people who are not connected in any way to this other way of thinking, why these organs and their health continues to degenerate.
Right, and so I would look at this as your opportunity to run energy. I would make it, how would you call it, part of your regimen.
Okay.
So the easiest way to do this is the one-step deal. Go to Beyond Delta.
Okay.
You'll know because you'll get that nice warmy feeling, feel very relaxed, and you'll be floaty. That, I can't hesitate to use these terms, but I call that the natural state. That's what you're supposed to be in the absence of a tiger.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people just don't have that anymore.
Constantly.
And you
yeah.
you weren't enjoying that.
No, I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, so I think that is your charge, is to go in one step to the Beyond Delta state and remain there. The challenge is remaining, because you will be assaulted
Right. Even
by
just
your own
picking up my
thoughts, by
phone.
other people, you
Right.
name it. Computers do it, you know.
Institution.
Institutions, yeah, you name it. So anyway, that's so if you want me to do this with a group of people, I would be more than happy to do
Yeah.
this. We can do it in a Zoom meeting if you'd like.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll take them to Beyond Delta in a group, which is actually more powerful, because this turns out that this is not confined by time or space. This is consciousness, and consciousness is not electromagnetic. It has something else. It's something else. It's kind of some type of quantum feature to it.
Quantum. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
quantum. It's
you
like
know, I
quantum
hate to use that
physics.
word, but you know, it's the best word we got right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, this can be looked at in as far as the 3 pillars of what we're doing with our groups. This is like a neuroplasticity. It helps people retrain the brain and retrain the nervous system and retrain themselves to come back into who they are as a person, and not relying on external influences, inputs to regulate their own systems.
Right, I call it stepping into your power, which is
Yeah.
nice there.
Great way to say
Yeah,
it.
you know, because it is but one step. It really is. So you're back in beta. You slip back into beta without your knowledge.
Okay, so
One step beyond delta. Here you go.
yeah, the to-do list. It's like pulls, but even just the to-do list. So our own thoughts can pull us back in, just of where we have to be or have to do, you know, the things.
There's a little bit more complicated explanation that I can give to you, but what you're really basically doing is you're going back to your childhood. In your childhood, you were in delta, because there was no
Some of
tiger.
us, yeah.
There was only mom and daddy. Now some people were being assaulted, and you know, they had their childhood stolen. Then you go into theta when you're about 5. When you're about 7, you go into alpha, and then you go into beta when you're about 12, and you stay there the rest of your life. Well, that's great for calculating. Beta is great for linear thought. And we train our children to do linear thought, do mathematics, do reading, do X, Y, Z, but we never train them how to be psychic. We never train them how to use their energy bodies, which they come with built in, because the science said, well, there's no such thing as a soul. We'll have the church handle that anyway, because we don't want to bother with it, because we can't find the damn thing or measure it. So we're going to push it over there, and people who don't go to church never even hear about it.
Yeah, we start
And now we've got this
separating these things out.
secularization of society, and instead of having training in energy medicine, which should be what, you know, every
Part of
kid
all of
goes
it.
through, you know, when they grow up and say, well, you are you know, this, instead of you are a physical thing
And you have to,
that somebody can beat up or
Perform this
control
way
or
and be able to go to
scare
work,
or
yeah.
do anything, you know.
so,
I think there's another reason why the kind of authorities, if you will, have ignored this. They do not want us. Anybody who does energy medicine is completely out of control.
yeah, I mean,
Which-
that goes against the,
They don't
divide
want
and conquer, right, which
Yeah.
is exactly, you know, having this secular segregating out people from what's intrinsic as the holistic person, the whole person, is the way to control.
Right.
Question about, if people who were in traumatic situations from the womb, and beyond, their mother was in a traumatic situation, they were born into this. How can this be introduced when there's, to me it feels like a memory that I don't remember.
It's a thought tiger that's in their field.
Yeah.
And what they had this really weird experience a long time ago. So I had this patient with severe migraines, and I was working on her energetically, and I got this what looked like a film being played in my mind of her heading towards her house, and there was flagstones leading up to the house, and she fell and hit her head on this flagstone. And I went, what was that? Because it was very vivid. And I described her house to me, and she said, well, that's that house to her. And she said, well, that was my childhood home. You described it to a T, and there were flagstones going up to it. Well, it turned out that she barely remembered this. When she was almost a toddler, she fell and hit her head on this flagstone. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going through this process, and something in me tells me, just reverse it, just reverse it. And so I said, okay, whatever. So I reversed the fall. I played the movie backwards. Migraine's gone forever.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what that means. But in her field was that memory.
Yeah.
And, in a sense, I was reading her mind. In a sense, she was not having that memory at the time I was reading it. So what was it? It was recorded. Everything is being recorded in some energetic thing, and it stays in our field. It's like, I call them rocks in our pond.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trauma when I was a kid, psychological trauma, and those are rocks in my pond. If I visit that memory, thought tiger.
We have a method with that with some clients where we use a technique where we go down an escalator with them as an adult to the moment of trauma, and support the child in that moment differently, so that is healed. But it did not occur to me to actually just reverse it entirely energetically.
And you just kind of say, you allow the adult mind to handle that trauma. It's different than a child.
Right.
The child is overwhelmed.
Right.
They cannot handle that type of deal.
And they might not have had somebody in their life
that would have came to them and helped them.
Yeah.
They might have just actually added to the problem. So it's interesting, because a lot of people who have that trauma, they will report all kinds of illnesses later in life, and it's probably because their energy is going towards that rock in their pond. And so instead of being distributed for repair and other things like that, it's over here. They're concentrating something over here that they can't resolve. So they're constantly playing this field back. There's another story that's even more interesting, but I don't know if we have time for that. How are we doing time-wise? What time is it?
Well, that's my phone, so I'm not sure how you're doing on time. If we've used up an hour.
Oh, I need to
Take a look.
I want to make sure I don't run over too far here. That's 10:46. Okay, so we got some time. Okay, so my teacher.
9:30, 10:46. So we're 16 minutes over right now.
Oh, we are. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have to
My
get
appointment
on
was
it.
9:30.
But I'll have to tell you the story sometime. It's about my teacher using energy to resolve a trauma that not only was the patient unaware of as a cause of their psychiatric illness, but I actually saw, without being told about the trauma, just like this girl who hit her head on the flagstones.
Yeah.
And this person had severe attention deficit disorder, we called it that for her. But when what was happening was this memory.
The screen's in the
Was-
shot, so we just want to make sure that the sensitive information.
So this memory was being handed up to her mind constantly. It was the ultimate thought tiger. Her mother was shot by her father in a violent rage. He was an alcoholic when she was 6. Well, I got to see what her thoughts were. She thought that she had killed her mother, her sister, and her father. This is what the 6-year-old thought.
Wow.
And that was her trauma. So it was, a 6-year-old doesn't know how to handle that, so it came up with all these other explanations. Couldn't believe that her father had done this. So this was being handed up to her conscious mind all the time, and her conscious mind was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she didn't recognize it with her adult mind because she said, well, that never happened. Well, it did for that 6-year-old.
Right.
That 6-year-old was there, and that was their memory.
That whole impressional age of 0 to 8 is so important.
So we replayed that memory for her energetically. I saw it as a bystander, as if somebody was watching someone's movie over her shoulder. And she recovered from her psychiatric illness within a matter of seconds.
It's amazing. Yeah,
so she went, oh, that never happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. You know, I should have been a psychiatrist, but
I really like this idea of using the chi. And so then how do you practice, like in the waking day, eyes open, and to maintain does meditation or prayer help daily, or just consciously, when will you come back over here so we can see you in the frame? Just consciously
the biggest
taking
challenge
the
is
breaths.
biggest challenge is for you to remain, okay? So right now you're back in and you're not aware. You're back in beta, okay? So what do? You recognize the absence of what you recorded.
Of the expansiveness.
So are you buzzing right now? I don't think so. Are you relaxed? Really? No, you're not. So you're recognizing the absence of something that can be very difficult. You're not floating, are you? So back you go.
And it's practice. It's just practicing. And really the most important part, and this is brain retraining too, is the
And
interrupting and redirecting.
Eventually what will happen is that your body will know where it is. And it'll go, there's no tiger here. Because what's happening is you're doing this. You're tiger, protect, hide, fight. Well, you're doing this all the time, and you're only spending a microsecond looking for the tiger. Because without a detector, a protector is worthless. You're constantly running.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is what chronic illness is.
So you're doing this all the time. If you can go long enough to go, no frickin' tiger, you'll stay there. Eventually your body will go, oh, I'm going to do this longer and longer, and eventually it'll go, no frickin' tiger, and it'll stay there. And that's where you get not intuitive flashes anymore. You get psychic, because now you're looking beyond the local tiger and seeing, oh, my friend's about to call me, or this is about to happen. The information is out there. It's just what we're filtering. We're filtering for survival. We are physical beings on the physical plane, and we have to survive. That's number one. So we do this, right?
Yeah. So.
But we are also psychic beings on the
conscious beings.
Right, and when we're expanded, we get that information.
So last question. When you're dealing with somebody who is constantly like, but no this, no, and especially when you feel like, well, no, that's not how I feel about, like, how do you interact or support a person who is convinced of the trauma of a situation?
They're gonna have to fight.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to fight for their turf. In other words, they're on their own. I cannot maintain them without actually being with them in this expanded state.
Okay.
But
stay in an expanded state when you're in presence of somebody,
right,
or interacting. It
and
could be a spouse or a doctor or.
And when you have pain or anxiety, you're going to go back in.
Yeah.
Because that tiger's going to show up. You have to fight. You have to, and eventually the body will go, oh, I am doing fine. You know, when I worked with that woman, her pain, anxiety went away like that.
Can you send somebody that energy in the moment if they're like that? And you're like, is basically that what you're doing when you're removing yourself or saying, okay, well, that's not how I
The
feel.
longest
just
distance I've done
interrupting
this is in from Colorado to Australia.
it. Oh, okay.
So there doesn't appear to be any time or distance limitation.
So energetically, you go back in and then you just send them some energy. So
Well, we just did it.
yeah,
There we go.
yeah,
Ready? There you go. You just went back in, didn't you?
yeah.
Okay.
I can feel it in my ear when that happens.
Yeah.
It's like
So
this
I
pop.
so I did that for you, and that was 2 feet.
Yeah,
Well, 2 feet is a long ways.
yeah.
You still here to Australia, but it doesn't make any difference.
Right, because you're shifting your own energy and then what you're bouncing back to the person.
Right. I don't know what locates people in time and space, but that's a little weird, you know. But you can locate people. And I did that with Kevin. I did, he was in Alma, and I worked with him from there. And so it's we'll just do it in as a podcast for your people, and we'll see what we get.
So this is Dr. Schroeder. We're at Heart of the Rockies Regional Medical Center, and he's a friend and colleague, and was a instrumental part of the shift to health on my road to recovery from toxic trauma. And we just happened to bump into each other the other day, and now we're working together in different capacities. So we'll see more of him soon. Thanks for watching.
Already.
And thank you.
Oh, I gotta get